Hey everyone, once again it's winter time and my Jeep here is slowly losing the heat on only the driver's side. There is some, but it's better than being outside, but it doesn't feel good. The passenger side is nice and warm. Had this happen twice, made 2 videos, both of them worked, but it goes away again. So if I can't solve it with this last idea, I'm going to put a heater core in. I'm going to kind of do this hack job that I saw couple guys do on YouTube. I'll put that video below if you want to do it. But you cut a bracket behind your glove box and then you cut your heater core tubes, because otherwise they come out and they go like this, and that's the reason you have to take the whole dash out, because the core has to slide out this way. So that means your heater AC box has to pull out to clear those hoses. So if you cut them off, leave them behind, you're going to have to cut the new one, and you put on a piece of, I think 5/8 heater hose on each one to reconnect them. It works. I've done stuff like that before. It will work. Now I'm going to try one more thing. It's an aggressive flush. Let me show you what I'm going to do. Okay, what we're going to do is I've got a pretty big bucket here. It's over 5 gallons. Chlorine came in it, the tablet form for my pool, so it holds more than 5 gallons of water. It's perfect for that. And the other things are, we're going to have a pump that I can hook a garden hose up to. Alright, that's going to go inside this bucket. Muriatic acid. This stuff, although it's not as powerful as sulfuric, it is powerful. It's used for cleaning brakes and a wide assortment of things. It is acid. You need to wear safety glasses, gloves, preferably ones that can go all the way up past your wrist quite a bit. If it splashes on you, get it off with water fast. It'll burn your clothes, put holes in them, and we're not going to use a full strength, but we're going to dilute it. And I know for when I clean my pool filter annually, it has what they call fins in it. And instead of having a sand filter, it kind of uses these fins. They're kind of like screens. And eventually they'll get hardened over by, the pores will get plugged up with just minerals and things in the water, and you'll start to have restricted flow in the pool filter. So you'll flush it, you'll back flush it, you'll change the DE in it, and your pressure's still high. What's happening is those minerals are building up and it's clogging up the screening, kind of like what goes on inside these heater cores that make them lose their heating ability on the driver's side. So this, if it's calcified with minerals, this should dissolve it, because it's very strong. The stuff you get in auto parts stores, it's kind of safe strong. It's an acid. I think they're usually citrus based, and the difference with this, it's more aggressive. You're going to have to be careful. It will eat your heater core, and because it'll start thinning the metal out if you're not careful. That's why we're diluting it, probably 50-50. And I'm going to run the heater core from this pump. I'm going to disconnect the hoses on the Jeep, the heater core hoses, and they're not going to go through the whole car's cooling system. Just the heater core is going to pump this solution out of this bucket through the heater core, and then I'm going to have another hose return back into it. So it's not going anywhere except for the heater core. And then when I feel like it's done enough, it's been in there long enough, I'll have another couple buckets so I can quickly dilute it down with water. So I don't want this stuff traveling around in the system and, you know, possibly doing damage to things. I have done this before with radiators, metal radiators. You take them out of the car, pour this stuff inside, and it actually does work. And I've actually cleaned a home heating coil that came out of a furnace. I was told to do it by a heating and plumbing company years ago when it was getting calcified inside. I was kind of taken back. I didn't know what was going on at first. Why is only my hot water in my house going slow out of the faucet, not the cold? Well, what's happening is the minerals hit the heat and they solidify inside that coil. So I was told back then a mixture of 50-50, 50 of muriatic, 50% water, and soak it in there for a day or something like that, and it actually works. It'll eliminate calcium. Now it may not eliminate other matters that are in there, whatnots. So this stuff is sold just about any hardware store or your box home centers, which is where I got this from the Home Depot. And like I said, read all the precautions on it, the poison labels and all that, and also dispose of it properly. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, here's what we got so far. We have our hoses going up to our heater core hoses right there. And I just have some copper pipe in between, 1/2 inch, clamped on both ends, just to be safe so they don't pop off. This is a rubber garden hose. It actually is nice to work with in the winter time. Just a recommendation. Then what we have next is we have our bucket. The one on the left is the one we're going to put the acid in. The one on the right is full of water to quickly dilute the mixture when I feel it's had enough. So all I have to do now is put the acid in. I have a hose standing by, another gallon of plain water, because I said we're going to mix about 50-50. And I'll submerge that submersible pump that hooks right up to your garden hose. And I'm using obviously shortened versions of the garden hose, just so I don't have to travel through all that hose and have all that mixture kind of go to waste, because it's going to work inside a hose too. It's going to look for any place it could find something to try to dissolve and work with. So the shorter the run, the better. So we're going to put the mixture in here, and again, this stuff is nasty. Gloves and glasses. Put it all in. Now I'm pouring low down in there so it doesn't splash up on me. Okay, now I just have this beer can, and we all know how thin that aluminum is. We're just going to throw that in there just to prove that this stuff doesn't go crazy on aluminum. It will over time, but right off the bat you can see it's not. If it had been reacting, it would be steaming away and things. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our pump in there, and also obviously this can ruin your pump. Got our return hose going in. Now keep in mind that thing could be pretty jumpy, so I think what I'm going to do is take a break and put a clamp around it. Next, there's going to be some air at first. So I'm going to just cover it with that, because it'll splash around as the air's coming out. There's our nastiness. It's getting pumped through just the heater core. I'll just let that go for a while, and I'll come back when I think that it's sufficient enough, and hopefully I see a lot of change in that color in there. I mean, you can see how already ugly it is. Some of that's just going to be the color of the antifreeze, and hopefully a lot of it will be the debris that's in there. I mean, besides the heater core opening up right now and pouring this stuff all over my interior, I really don't have anything to lose. The worst that could happen is I'll need a heater core anyway, and then I'll do that method, But let's see how this works. Okay, this has been running for probably about 5 or 10 minutes. And either that's all out of the heater core, that awful looking slime and gray and garbage, or some of it's either coming out of the pump itself. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to ruin that pump, but in any case, I'm going to stop here and put it into the rinse water. And yes, I forgot my gloves. Again, we're going to cover it, keep it from splashing for a second. And while that's running, I'm going to put this waste into another container and come back with some clean water. Okay, got another bucket of clean water. I'm just going to pull it out while it's running. Pretty diluted now. Nobody's going to get burned with it. Alright, so we're just going to do these a few more times. And once it's really clean, I don't see any more coloration, I'll just put the Jeep back together and test it. Been corresponding with somebody watching my videos. A lot of people seem to have the same problem. Chris has been giving me tips on some things. He's the one that I told him there was a video with guys cutting the brackets around the glove box, and he found pictures with them cutting the core in half afterwards, so you could see what kind of garbage is inside it. So we know that it is plugged, and for some reason it heavily affects the driver's side instead of the passenger side. And it's a single zone cooling heating system. So after this is all done, I'll put it back together and test it out. Hey everybody, I just want to make this extra little piece of clip before you see the last one, because when I filmed it in the car I had the face vents on, the air's blowing, and it's kind of distorted the sound a little bit. But the end result was I had about somewhere over 140 degrees out of the driver's side vent and somewhere over 140 degrees out of the passenger side vent, the center vents I was measuring. But I held my hands to the outside ones and they were also hot. And it looks like it's worked very well. And I want to show you that can I had earlier, the beer can. And I've had the acid solution in here for probably close to 2 hours. So I'm going to pour it out. The can's not hot, and it hasn't reacted with the can, or hasn't reacted. There's a little bit of color to it from when I stuck it in, the first discoloration you saw. But the can itself is pretty much intact. It doesn't feel thin, it doesn't feel hot. So I really don't think that a 50-50 mix has much effect on the aluminum in the heater core. So that being said, I think it's a success, and like I said, the last clip you're going to see is just simply the end result, and the heat is burning hot. It's not a freezing cold day today. It's probably was in the 40s when I was filming this. So when I get the next freezing day, then I'll really know, and I hope the end results are the same. But I definitely have complete difference from before I started to now. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Okay, hope you could see this. It's well over, wow, jeez, I can't keep my hand on it anymore. Well over 140 degrees coming out of the driver's face vent, which would also be kind of chilly. I would close that and blow this one over here towards me, and because I don't want anything coming off the floor, and the defrost would be cold. So if I'm trying to warm up while I'm driving, I used to just point this one over here at me, close this one as well over here. So right now I'm getting some scorching ass heat, so it looks like it really did work. Now I'm going to try to let this thing cool down, drop it down. Get it in the air a little bit, and it's come down already too, it's dropping. So I got her down to about 120, and then we'll put it in the vent for the passenger side to just do a comparison here. So I'm sure it's improved the passenger side as well. So if it's always going to be hotter over on the passenger side by design, it's going to get hotter over there as well. Got that crud out of there, and looks like the acid really did the job. So Chris, I'm going to pass this on to you. Thanks for communicating with me on this one, and I hope this is the last time I do this business in video.